Hello, and this is my entry for One Musical Scene, a video series initiated by Nando V Movies where we pick a scene featuring some form of music that we really like and talk about it. For my entry, I chose the I'm Still Standing sequence from the end of the movie Rocketman, a biopic about the singer Elton John. This scene in particular takes place after he is submitted into rehab following a series of events involving a slew of physical and mental issues caused by an abusive relationship with his ex-partner John Reid and a rocky relationship with his family. After spending a long time away from music, Elton isn't sure if he can write anymore, but after some encouragement from his writing partner Bernie Taupin, he sits at a piano in the rehab center and composes the song I'm Still Standing, closing out the movie. Now, of course, it bears saying that, like with any dramatized biopics, the film took some creative liberties with Elton John's life. For example, in real life, Elton's father was apparently not the deadbeat dad as he was presented in the film, and Elton didn't write I'm Still Standing while he was recovering in rehab. I'll admit, I was a little disappointed to find that out, given that it was such a powerful and emotional scene. But again, like with any biopic, we have to understand that liberties have to be taken to tell a compelling story. Otherwise, the filmmakers would have just made a documentary. However, I feel that there's a distinction to be made about Rocketman. This movie is not just a biopic where the musical numbers are, and then he wrote this song, and then he wrote this other song, and then he wrote another song. This movie is a jukebox musical. Or at least partially, which I know might be a point of contention, but let me explain. A jukebox musical is a type of musical where pre-existing songs are used as opposed to having original music. These songs are picked based on its contents and themes and how it fits into the narrative. Or in cases like Mamma Mia or Across the Universe, the story was written around a set of songs. In any case, this doesn't mean every musical biopic is a jukebox musical even though they are using pre-existing music. Jukebox musicals are kind of classified by how that music is used. They're used to drive the plot forward, whereas in most musical biopics, the musical numbers are used more as performances than as a vehicle for the narrative. In Rocketman, there are plenty of musical numbers where it is the usual, and then the singer wrote the song and then performed it. But in a lot of scenes, it also uses Elton's music to drive the plot, to drive the character interactions. I Want Love is sung by Elton's whole family to reflect Elton's unsupportive parents and how that affects everyone.
I want love, just a different kind. I want love,
won't break me down,
won't break me up, won't fence me in. I want a love.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is sung when Bernie's attempts to help Elton is rebuked, leading Bernie to frustratedly leave the restaurant they're at.
When are you gonna come down? When are you going to land?
The song continues to be sung as Elton reflects, literally, on the interaction in his life and finally decides to get help at a rehab center.
Not a present for your friends to open. This boy's too young to be singing.
With all these examples in mind, of course we aren't being asked to think that Elton wrote I Want Love when he was 11, or that Bernie Taupin wrote Goodbye Yellow Brick Road while he was in an argument with Elton. These songs were put in these places because that's where they fit thematically and narratively, not because that's when they were written. So in some way, we also aren't really being asked to think that Elton wrote I'm Still Standing when he was in rehab. That was just, again, where the song fit the most thematically. And oh boy does it fit. This is a song about picking up the broken pieces of your life and getting back up despite everything that has happened to you. And that's exactly what Elton is going through in this movie. Just before this scene, Bernie visits Elton at the rehab center, and Elton confides that he's afraid he can't write music anymore.
I'm scared, Bernie. What if I'm not as good without the drink and the drugs?
It's not just because he's been away from the music scene for so long. It's that he's spent so long drowning in drugs and alcohol and sorrow that he's afraid that's where his creativity comes from. That his art came not from himself, but from the pain and the influence. This is incredibly heartbreaking, but so relatable. I mean, we live in a world where people still think Vincent van Gogh's art came from his intense depression, and that it was somehow inspirational that he was able to transform his suffering into beautiful art, when that just wasn't the case at all. Van Gogh's most well-known works, including The Starry Night, was painted while he was in an asylum receiving treatment. That's not to say his pain didn't stay with him while he was there, or that you shouldn't find him inspirational, But the art didn't come from his depression, it came from receiving help. But it's an unfortunate fact that many creatives in the world who are suffering from depression or any number of mental health issues are afraid to seek treatment because they, like so many other people in the world, believe their creativity comes from their pain or from the different way their minds work, and treatment would dampen that creativity. That, like Van Gogh, or the public's perception of Van Gogh, using that pain is the best way to get true, raw emotional art. So to have this movie say that it isn't true, that Elton's creativity didn't come from his suffering but from him, to show that Elton was able to write again because he received treatment, well, that feels a little special to me. In this scene, Bernie further tells Elton that
You're not scared you're not good without it. You're scared to feel again.
he isn't afraid he can't write. What he's afraid of is feeling again, of having strong emotions, and then he leaves Elton with some lyrics that need music. This is the part Elton needs to figure out on his own, he says. Figure out how to feel again. The original I'm Still Standing starts fast and strong. It has a constant beat and a defiant spirit that keeps you amped up from the beginning. In this movie though, the song starts instrumentally as the background score, soft and slow and emotional as Elton and Bernie rekindle their friendship.
You're my brother.
The music stays soft as Elton finds the piano room and sits down with the lyrics. He puts his fingers on the keys, but he doesn't play. For a moment, doubt consumes him again and he clenches his fists, the music turning high and sustaining, lingering on an unresolved chord to mirror his uncertainty, just waiting and waiting. And then... the song continues to be soft and slow, filled with pauses where there weren't any in the original song, but now there's a tinge of brightness as we watch Elton regain his confidence, literally picking up the pieces of his life one at a time. His performing outfit, the backing instruments coming in one by one, his props, his dance moves. As he dances out of the rehab center, as he recovers, there's one more pause at the door, one last hesitation.
Picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. But I never could have hoped to be.
He's back and he's still standing. Something I've always found funny is that this isn't the first time Taron Egerton... Yes, Taron Egerton. Yes, I fact-checked this.
Hi, I'm Taron Egerton, and few people know that I actually...
have a surname that's pronounced Edgerton.
Are you kidding me?
This isn't the first time Taron Egerton has performed this song in a movie. Before Rocketman, he was in Sing, where he performed this very song in a scene that honestly almost made me cry. And speaking of Sing, well, if this video is about one good musical scene, then I could make a whole other video on one bad musical scene, and that scene is this song from Sing 2.